Hi, I am Sophia. Welcome to True Payback, where story hits different. Hit subscribe. Let's dive in.
My name is Emma, and I was diagnosed with postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, POTS, and dysautonomia when I was 19 years old. For those who don't know, it's an autonomic nervous system disorder that affects blood flow and heart rate. When I stand up too quickly, my heart rate can spike to dangerous levels. Sometimes I faint. Sometimes my vision goes black. Sometimes my heart races so fast I think it might explode. It's invisible. That's the problem. You can't see POTS. You can't see dysautonomia. You can't see the days I spend in bed because standing makes me feel like I'm dying. You can't see the careful calculations I make before every single movement. How long can I stand? How much can I do? What's my heart rate right now? My family never believed me. My brother Marcus led the charge. He's 3 years older, works in finance, married to his college sweetheart with 2 perfect kids. The golden child. The one who never struggled, never failed, never needed help. You just want attention, he told me when I was first diagnosed at 19. Convenient timing right before college. My parents agreed. Mom thought I was anxious. Dad thought I was lazy. My sister Emily said I was dramatic. Only my grandmother believed me, but she passed away 2 years after my diagnosis. For 6 years I lived with their dismissal. Family dinners where I had to sit down were met with eye rolls. Already tired, Emma? Holiday gatherings where I needed to pace myself became ammunition. Can't handle a little celebration? Doctor's appointments were excuses to skip work. Medical equipment was props for sympathy. I stopped trying to explain. I stopped defending myself. I just lived my life as carefully as I could, managing my condition with the help of Dr. Marcus Harrison, the cardiologist who'd been treating me since my diagnosis. Dr. Harrison wasn't just my doctor. He became a mentor, then a friend. He'd seen me through the worst flares, the scariest episodes, the times I thought my heart would give out entirely. He knew my medical history better than I did. He'd written letters to my employer, my university, my insurance company, documenting everything. Your family doesn't understand, he told me during one appointment when I broke down crying about Marcus's latest accusation. But that doesn't change the facts. You have a serious medical condition. What they believe doesn't alter your reality. I held on to those words. While my family dismissed me as lazy and dramatic, I built a life they knew nothing about. I couldn't work a traditional 9-to-5 job. Standing for 8 hours would put me in the hospital. So I taught myself medical coding and billing. I could work from home, set my own pace, lie down when needed. Within 2 years I was making $70,000 a year. My family assumed I was unemployed. Still living off disability checks? Marcus would ask at Christmas. Something like that, I'd reply. By 23 I'd saved enough to buy a small condo. I told my family I was renting. By 25 I'd built my medical coding business to the point where I had 3 employees working under me. Revenue, $220,000 annually. My family thought I was broke. Then I met James. James was a software engineer who understood chronic illness because his sister had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. He never questioned my limitations. He never accused me of faking. He learned my medications, my triggers, my warning signs. He installed grab bars in his apartment. He bought a shower chair without me asking. He kept electrolyte drinks in his fridge. You're not dramatic, he told me on our 3rd date when I had to leave a restaurant because standing in line made my heart rate hit 160. You're managing a serious medical condition and you're doing it incredibly well. I fell in love with him that night. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. I said yes immediately. Planning a wedding with POTS was complicated. I needed a venue with plenty of seating. A ceremony short enough that I could stand through it. A reception where I could sit at the head table without judgment. Temperature control, heat makes POTS worse. Access to my medications. A room nearby in case I needed to lie down. I didn't invite my family to the planning process. I knew what would happen. Marcus would mock every accommodation. Mom would say I was being difficult. Dad would suggest I just push through it. Emily would film me for social media with captions about bridezilla behavior. So I planned it myself with James and sent them invitations 6 weeks before the wedding. The response was immediate. Marcus called. A wedding? Really? You can barely get through a dinner party. I've planned accommodations, I said calmly. Accommodations, he repeated mockingly. Right. So we all have to cater to your drama. You don't have to come, I replied. Oh, I'm coming, he said. Someone needs to keep you grounded in reality. Mom called next. Emma, sweetie, are you sure you're ready for this? Marriage is stressful. With your condition, maybe you should wait. I'm 25, Mom. I'm ready. But the stress of a wedding is manageable, I interrupted. I've planned everything carefully. If you say so, she said, but I heard the doubt. Emily texted, OMG, a wedding? Can't wait to see this disaster. Only Dad seemed neutral. Congratulations, Emma. Send me the details. The warning signs were there. I knew my family would cause problems. But I didn't expect what happened. Dr. Harrison agreed to be James's best man. Are you sure? I asked during an appointment 2 months before the wedding. You're my doctor. Isn't that unusual? Emma, I've been treating you for 6 years, he said. I've seen you at your worst and watched you build an incredible life despite this condition. James asked me because he knows how much you mean to me as a patient and a person. I'd be honored. I cried in his office. Your family doesn't understand, he continued. But I do. And I'll be there. Not just as best man but as your physician. If anything happens, I'm prepared. Nothing will happen, I said. Probably not, he agreed. But I'm bringing my medical bag anyway. The week before the wedding, Marcus called again. I'm bringing Aunt Linda and Uncle George, he announced. They want to see this circus. There are assigned seats. We'll figure it out, he interrupted. Oh, and Emily's bringing her new boyfriend. He's a personal trainer. Very into fitness. I'm sure he'll have thoughts about your lifestyle choices. I said nothing. See you Saturday, Emma. Try not to collapse before the ceremony. He hung up. I told Dr. Harrison about the call during our final pre-wedding checkup. Your resting heart rate is elevated, he noted, checking my vitals. Stress. My brother, I admitted. Emma, listen to me. Dr. Harrison put down his stethoscope. I've documented everything. 6 years of medical records. Diagnosis reports. Treatment plans. Test results showing your heart rate dysregulation. Tilt table test results. Echocardiograms. Everything. If your family causes problems, I have evidence. Evidence for what? For whatever becomes necessary, he said carefully. I didn't understand then. The ceremony was beautiful. James cried when I walked down the aisle. I made it through the vows without fainting. A victory. We kept it short, 15 minutes total. I sat immediately after we were pronounced married. The reception was in the same venue just across the hall. Climate-controlled, plenty of seating, low lighting to prevent triggers. I'd planned everything perfectly. My family arrived during cocktail hour. Marcus brought 8 people. Not the 3 he'd mentioned. 8. Aunt Linda, Uncle George, 3 cousins I barely knew, Emily's personal trainer boyfriend, and 2 of Marcus's work colleagues. Surprise, he announced. Everyone wanted to celebrate your big day. There weren't enough seats. We'll make it work, Marcus said loudly, grabbing chairs from other tables. Emma won't mind. She's so accommodating with her special needs. Several guests turned to stare. I said nothing. James squeezed my hand. Dr. Harrison, standing nearby in his best man tuxedo, watched Marcus carefully. Dinner was served. I ate carefully, monitoring my symptoms. My heart rate was elevated, around 110 resting, which was high for me but manageable. The excitement, the stress, the heat from all the extra bodies Marcus had brought. I was okay. Then came the toast. Dr. Harrison went first. He spoke beautifully about resilience, about watching me build a life despite challenges, about James's devotion and understanding. He never mentioned my diagnosis specifically. I'd asked him not to. But anyone listening understood. Emma is one of the strongest people I know, he concluded. And I'm honored to call her my friend. Everyone applauded. Then Marcus stood. I'd like to say a few words, he announced, even though he wasn't on the toast list. James tensed beside me. Emma's always been special, Marcus began. She needs a lot of accommodation, a lot of understanding, a lot of patience. He smiled at the crowd. Growing up, we never knew what would set her off. A family dinner? Too stressful. A holiday party? Too overwhelming. A simple gathering? Apparently too much for her delicate constitution. People shifted uncomfortably. But James seems willing to handle it, Marcus continued. So congratulations to both of you. May you have a lifetime of accommodations. He raised his glass. A few people awkwardly clinked glasses. Most just stared. I said nothing. Emily's boyfriend, Tyler, stood next. Yeah man, I gotta say, mad respect for taking this on. My ex was super high maintenance too. Needed constant attention, always had some new problem. You're a better man than me, bro. He and Marcus laughed. James started to stand. I grabbed his hand. Don't, I whispered. Dr. Harrison was watching Marcus with an expression I'd never seen before. Clinical. Calculating. The DJ started music. People began dancing. I stayed seated, watching my heart rate on my fitness tracker. 120. Elevated but safe. Marcus approached our table 30 minutes later. He was drunk. I could tell by his flushed face, his loud voice, the way he swayed slightly. Emma, he announced. Come dance with your big brother. I'm good here, Marcus. Thank you. Come on. He grabbed my arm. It's your wedding. You can't just sit there all night. Marcus, I'm managing my condition. Your condition, he repeated mockingly. Right. Your mysterious condition that nobody can ever see. Your convenient excuse for everything. Dr. Harrison stood. Sir, I'm going to ask you to step back. Oh, the best man speaks. Marcus laughed. Let me guess, another one of Emma's enablers? I'm her cardiologist, Dr. Harrison said calmly. And you need to release her arm. Her cardiologist, Marcus said slowly. Then he laughed harder. Of course you are. Of course Emma's doctor is the best man at her wedding. Because her entire life revolves around her fake medical drama. Marcus, you're drunk, I said quietly. Please sit down. I'm not drunk, I'm honest. He yanked on my arm. Get up, Emma. Stop sitting there like an invalid. You're embarrassing everyone. Let go of her, James said, standing. Make me, Marcus shot back. The music had stopped. Everyone was watching. Get up and stop being dramatic, Marcus yelled, pulling me from my chair with both hands. Everything happened at once. My heart rate spiked. 160, 170. My vision went black at the edges. My legs gave out. I collapsed onto the floor, my white wedding dress pooling around me. I heard screaming. James yelling. My mother's voice. Someone calling 911. I couldn't respond. I was trying to breathe, trying to slow my heart rate, trying not to pass out completely at my own wedding. Then I heard Dr. Harrison's voice. Calm. Professional. Deadly. Step back from her. Now. She's fine, Marcus slurred. She's just doing her dramatic thing. I'm Dr. Marcus Harrison, her cardiologist for 6 years, Dr. Harrison said, loud enough for everyone to hear. I've been treating her for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome and dysautonomia. What you just did, forcibly pulling a patient with cardiac dysregulation from a seated position, could have caused cardiac arrest. He was already checking my pulse, my pupils. James had my medical bag. She's faking, Marcus started. Her heart rate is currently 182 beats per minute, Dr. Harrison interrupted. Normal resting rate is 60 to 100. She's in tachycardia. Do you understand what that means? Her heart is racing so fast it could fail. The room was silent. Dr. Harrison looked up at the crowd, his hand still on my wrist, checking my pulse. I need everyone to know something. I've documented every aspect of Emma's condition for 6 years. Medical records. Test results. Treatment plans. Tilt table tests showing her heart rate jumping from 70 to 165 upon standing. Echocardiograms. Holter monitor results. Everything. He looked directly at Marcus. What you just did constitutes assault on a disabled person. In this state, that's a felony. I witnessed it. I'm documenting it. And police are outside. I called them the moment I saw you grab her arm. I've already filed the report. Marcus's face went white. You're lying, he said. You can't just. I'm a mandatory reporter, Dr. Harrison continued. When I witness abuse of a patient, I'm legally required to report it. That report was filed at 8:47 p.m. It's now 8:53. Officers are waiting in the lobby for my statement. My mother pushed through the crowd. This is ridiculous. Marcus didn't assault anyone. Emma's fine, she's just. Mrs. Peterson, your daughter's heart rate is 179, Dr. Harrison said without looking up from me. She's experiencing a severe POTS flare triggered by forced positional change and extreme stress. If her heart rate doesn't stabilize in the next 3 minutes, I'm calling an ambulance. He pulled out his phone. Not to call an ambulance, to show the screen to the crowd. This is Emma's 6-year medical file summary. Diagnosis: POTS and dysautonomia, confirmed by 3 cardiologists including myself. Treatment: beta blockers, increased salt and fluid intake, compression garments, physical therapy. Prognosis: chronic condition requiring permanent lifestyle modifications. Documented disability under the Americans with Disabilities Act. He looked at Marcus again. You just assaulted a disabled woman at her wedding in front of 100 witnesses, while she was managing a documented cardiac condition. I have video. 6 people filmed it, including your sister Emily. I have medical documentation proving her condition is real. I have my testimony as her treating physician. And I have a legal obligation to report what I witnessed. Marcus's phone started ringing. That's probably your attorney, Dr. Harrison said calmly. The police contacted them 20 minutes ago when I filed the preliminary report. I'd answer it. My mother was crying. My father stood frozen. Emily had her phone out but wasn't filming anymore. She was staring at the screen in horror, probably realizing her video was evidence. Tyler, the personal trainer boyfriend, had disappeared entirely. Aunt Linda approached slowly. Emma, you really have a heart condition? For 6 years, Dr. Harrison answered for me, still monitoring my pulse. Heart rate's coming down. 162. Better. Emma, can you hear me? Yes, I whispered. Good. Stay seated. Don't try to stand. James, get her compression socks from the medical bag and an electrolyte drink. James moved immediately. Dr. Harrison looked at the crowd. I need everyone to understand something. POTS is real. Dysautonomia is real. Invisible disabilities are real. Emma's not faking, she's not dramatic, she's not seeking attention. She has a documented medical condition that affects her autonomic nervous system and heart rate regulation. She's managed it beautifully for 6 years, built a successful career, maintained relationships, and planned this entire wedding around her medical needs. What happened tonight was not her fault. It was assault. 2 police officers entered the reception hall. Dr. Harrison, one of them called. Here, Dr. Harrison responded. The victim is stable. Heart rate decreasing. The perpetrator is the man in the navy suit, Marcus Peterson. Multiple witnesses, video evidence, and I'm filing as a mandatory reporter. Marcus's attorney called again. He answered this time, his voice shaking. I didn't. I was just trying to get her to dance. You assaulted a disabled woman, one of the officers said. We need you to come with us. This is insane. My mother screamed. He's her brother. He didn't know. He's been told about her condition for 6 years, Dr. Harrison interrupted. Emma's shared her diagnosis, her limitations, her needs. He chose not to believe her. That doesn't constitute a legal defense. The officers approached Marcus. Sir, we need you to come with us for questioning. You have the right to remain silent. My brother was escorted out of my wedding reception in handcuffs. Emily was crying. My mother was screaming. My father just stared. Dr. Harrison stayed beside me, monitoring my vitals until my heart rate dropped to 120. Better, he said. But I want you lying down. James, help her to the bridal suite. The reception, I started, is over, Dr. Harrison said firmly. You need rest. Your guests will understand. James lifted me carefully, carrying me toward the exit. The crowd parted silently. As we passed my mother, Dr. Harrison spoke quietly but clearly. Mrs. Peterson, I've documented tonight's incident in Emma's medical file. Marcus's assault, your dismissal of her condition in front of medical personnel, Emily's filming of a medical emergency without offering assistance. All documented. If Emma chooses to pursue further legal action, my testimony and records are available. I suggest you consult with your own attorney. My mother said nothing. I spent my wedding night in the bridal suite with James, Dr. Harrison checking my vitals every hour until my heart rate fully stabilized around 11 p.m. You should be in a hospital, he said. I should be on my honeymoon, I replied. He smiled slightly. Fair enough. But you're staying here tonight and I'm checking you again in the morning. Marcus was released from police custody at 2 a.m. on bond. The charges: assault on a disabled person, a felony in our state carrying up to 5 years in prison. His attorney called me the next morning. Not to apologize, to negotiate. My client didn't understand the severity of your condition. Your client has been told about my condition for 6 years, I interrupted. I have emails, texts, and medical records I shared with my family documenting everything. He was intoxicated and didn't intend. Dr. Harrison's report states he grabbed me twice. The first time, Dr. Harrison warned him to step back and identified himself as my cardiologist. Your client proceeded anyway. That demonstrates intent. Silence. What do you want? The attorney finally asked. I want your client to plead guilty, accept responsibility, and complete court-ordered education about disability rights and invisible illnesses. I want a restraining order. And I want a public apology acknowledging that he assaulted me because he refused to believe my documented medical condition. That's extensive. So was being assaulted at my own wedding, I replied. Those are my terms. Dr. Harrison's testimony alone will convict him. He's a respected cardiologist with 6 years of documentation. The video evidence from multiple guests supports the assault charge. Your client has no defense. This is the generous option. The attorney said he'd call back. My mother called an hour later. Emma, please. He's your brother. You're going to send him to prison over a misunderstanding. He assaulted me, Mom. He was drunk. He didn't mean it. He's been calling me a faker for 6 years. He meant it. You're tearing this family apart. No, Mom. You all tore this family apart when you decided my documented medical condition was fake. I've spent 6 years being dismissed, mocked, and accused of lying. At my wedding, Marcus physically assaulted me in front of 100 people. Dr. Harrison filed charges because it's legally required. This isn't my choice. It's the consequence of Marcus's actions. She hung up. Emily texted, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was that serious. I deleted all the videos. I didn't respond. Marcus took the plea deal. Guilty plea to misdemeanor assault with enhanced penalties due to the victim's disability status. 2 years probation. 200 hours community service at a disability advocacy organization. Mandatory completion of a disability awareness education program. 3-year restraining order. And a public apology. The apology was posted on his Facebook page, where he'd previously made jokes about my mysterious illness. I assaulted my sister Emma at her wedding because I refused to believe her documented medical condition was real. For 6 years she tried to explain her POTS and dysautonomia diagnosis. I dismissed her, mocked her, and called her a faker. I was wrong. Emma has a serious cardiac condition documented by medical professionals. My assault could have caused cardiac arrest. I'm deeply sorry for the harm I caused, and I'm committed to learning about invisible disabilities so I never harm anyone else through my ignorance. It had 3,000 shares in 24 hours. My parents didn't apologize. They simply stopped contacting me. Emily sent a longer message a week later. I've been doing research on POTS. I had no idea. I'm so sorry for every joke, every eye roll, every time I filmed you struggling instead of helping. I understand if you don't want a relationship with me. But I'm here if you ever do. I appreciated it. But I wasn't ready. 6 months after the wedding, James and I went on our postponed honeymoon. A cruise specifically designed for travelers with disabilities. Plenty of seating, accessible cabins, medical staff on board. It was perfect. Dr. Harrison sent a card. Congratulations on your honeymoon. You've earned every moment of happiness. Your strength inspires me every day. Marcus. I cried reading it. My medical coding business continued to grow. By the time I was 27, I had 8 employees and revenue of $400,000 annually. I bought a house with a bedroom on the first floor, grab bars in every bathroom, and a home office where I could work lying down when needed. I stopped hiding my success from people who didn't believe in me. I started sharing my story publicly. Blog posts about managing POTS, videos about invisible disabilities, advocacy work for the disability community. My family saw it. I didn't care. Marcus completed his community service and education program. He sent a letter afterward, longer than the public apology, more personal. He detailed everything he'd learned, every assumption he'd challenged, every person he'd met at the disability center who'd changed his perspective. I spent 6 years being cruel to you because I didn't understand. That's not an excuse. Understanding should never be a prerequisite for basic human decency. You told me you had a medical condition. I should have believed you. I'm sorry it took a criminal charge and court-ordered education for me to finally listen. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that I'm different now. I'm better. And I'll spend the rest of my life making sure nobody else suffers the way I made you suffer. I didn't respond immediately. I needed time. But eventually, 2 years after the wedding, I agreed to meet him for coffee. He looked different. Quieter. Humbler. I volunteer at the disability center now, he said. Even after my hours were done. I lead a support group for families of people with invisible disabilities. Teaching them what I had to learn the hard way. That's good, I said. Emma, Marcus, I need you to understand something. I looked at him directly. I'll never forget what you did. The years of mockery. The assault at my wedding. The way you made me feel like I was crazy for having a documented medical condition. That doesn't disappear because you completed a program. I know, he said quietly. But I appreciate the work you're doing. I appreciate that you're trying to change. That matters. We talked for an hour. It wasn't reconciliation. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was a start. My mother never apologized. My father never acknowledged what happened. Emily and I rebuilt a careful, distant relationship where she asked about my health and actually listened to the answers. But the biggest change was internal. I stopped hiding. I stopped minimizing. I stopped making myself smaller to make other people comfortable. When someone asked about my medical equipment, I explained. When someone questioned my limitations, I provided documentation. When someone suggested I was being dramatic, I walked away without explanation. I married a man who understood that love means believing your partner, even about invisible struggles. I built a business that accommodated my reality instead of fighting it. I surrounded myself with friends who validated my experiences instead of dismissing them. And when I saw Dr. Harrison at my annual cardiology appointment, I thanked him again. You filed charges when I couldn't, I said. You stood up for me when my own family wouldn't. You believed me when everyone else said I was faking. Emma, I'm your doctor, he replied. Believing you is part of my job. It's more than that, I said. You saw me as a person worth protecting. That meant everything. He smiled. You've always been worth protecting. I'm just glad you finally believe it too. I did. Because the truth is this. Invisible disabilities are real. Medical conditions don't require other people's belief to exist. And the people who truly love you will believe you, support you, and stand beside you. Even when it's inconvenient, even when it's complicated, even when it means filing criminal charges against your own family. My brother learned that lesson through legal consequences. I learned it through building a life where my reality was respected, my limitations were accommodated, and my truth was never again questioned. That wedding day, the day my brother assaulted me and my cardiologist filed charges, was the worst day of my life. But it was also the day I stopped letting anyone make me feel ashamed for existing in a body that works differently. And that freedom, that was worth everything.